What will you leave in the light before everything goes dark?
All right, guys, this is Josh with the Conquer Podcast. This is the Conqueror's Journal. We're going to get into the definition of conquering and talk a little bit about what that looks like for me specifically. My definition of conquering is very specific. It's strongly overcome weaknesses and excuses. It's very simple. Strongly overcome weaknesses and excuses. Right now, I'm in the midst of the question, what can I leave in the light if everything goes dark? And what that looks like on a daily basis for me right now is I lost a day of work this week for the first time in 15 years. I will not be able to work 5 days a week like I used to. I would normally typically work 5 days in a row, 12 to 14 hours each day without any issues. I love working. I love creating. I love being around my community and growing. I am unable to visually handle 5 work days in a row, so I had to get rid of my Wednesdays. The vision loss, the vision pain, the vision issues get much worse if I don't. I was kind of losing half of my hours weekly before this week with canceling, rescheduling, and I can't keep doing that to everybody, so I had to give up a day. And this what happened is I visually, I lost a day of work. I'm hoping we can keep it to 4 really hard days. And that 5th day is just for recovery. It's letting my eyes reset, recover. I have to be in a dark room, no TV, no phone, podcast, audiobook only, massage, blackout heat mask on to let my eyes recover until they do. And it's frustrating, but it's what needs to be done. And rather than get upset about it, I had to just execute it. My wife gave me the idea on Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon, I texted all my clients and partners, business partners, and I rescheduled my whole week on the spot because that's what had to be done. It's just taking action and executing and seeing if your plan of strategy works. And if it doesn't, you regroup. And for me, luckily it did. And we're going to keep moving forward with only 4 days of work a week, which is also going to be mentally challenging just from I overwork mindset and I work a ton mindset, and my identity is closely tied to working harder and longer than everybody else. So we're going to kind of deal with it as we go. I already feel a little bit bad about myself, if I'm being honest, for just letting go of a day, but I know visually that's what has to be done. And so I willingly did it, and we're going to kind of go from there. As we're talking about conquering today in the definition, we're looking at conquering from a very different perspective than our current culture might look at it. You know, I think when you hear the word conquer, you might feel left out because what you hear is someone that, you know, controls or takes over someone or something, someone who, you know, gains power and control. That's not typically how I look at conquering, and it really never has been. And that's why my definition is not controlling or powering or overtaking somebody. It's strongly overcoming weakness and excuses for yourself. It's more about mastery and self-preservation than what we look at and see on TV. It's also possibly a little bit, you know, negative as far as history goes if you're looking at conquering dictators. But again, we're not looking at that. We're not looking at affecting anybody but ourselves as we deal with our own fight and our own journey. Fortunately, we're doing it together, not alone. But it's not about beating somebody else or overpowering somebody else. It's about beating yourself and your obstacles and your ailments, your illnesses and your addictions. And it's about becoming a stronger, better person because of it. It does take a little bit of a headstrong mindset to conquer stuff because it gets hard. The fight is hard. And you do need that reminder, and I'm here to give it to you, that you're in the fight at all times. You're doing the best that you can do just by showing up, and every day just doing one thing to get better as you're working on whatever your fight is, whatever you are currently conquering, is good enough. It's more than enough. People look at me, I think, because of my disability and think that I have less than, or I was born without because I have less vision than other people. And I like to remind people, in my situation, I have all I need. I was given everything that I need to conquer all things. Everything that I need, that I've experienced, that I've learned, the relationships, interactions that I've had have built me into this person. And it's the same for you. You are capable of doing anything, and you have all you need within you. We just got to unlock it. We just got to learn how to use it to your advantage. You have everything you need, and it's all in you. We also have to understand that we can't change other people's perceptions of what conquering is. If they're looking at it a certain way, and they're looking at it as being the kind of indomitable figure that conquers everything, the beast, the monster, the savage, all those fun words that we like to use, usually that mindset burns out because it's not sustainable. It's not realistic because the goal isn't centered properly. The goal is on beating somebody or beating someone, and it's not conquering it. Okay, again, remember, conquering is perpetual. It's dealing with what you're dealing with over and over and over again until you either get through it and learn from it and start over, or until you learn to live with whatever it is and make it part of your life. You can't let the definition of someone else's definition deter you from doing what you are doing. We need to know that when we're enduring, overcoming, and conquering, we are in a fight with a strategy and a plan, and we are in it together. And outside noise, we kind of just let it go. There are people that will use the word for negative uses and negative connotations, and that's not what the word is. Conquering is the most powerful word in the dictionary, in my opinion. That's why I use it for everything. Conquering is life-changing. It is not about changing anyone else's life. It's not about using it to get ahead of anybody else or hurting anybody else. It is about changing your life. And there's so much power in it. It's not negative. We need to choose to focus on the positive aspects of conquering, which is ending in self-mastery and overcoming difficult things and becoming a master of who you are and who you're meant to be. Looking back on my own life, my dad instilled this conquering mindset into me from a very young age. And again, the definition is strongly overcoming weaknesses and excuses. That is how you conquer. That is what conquering is. And being a young boy with a disability, I had every reason to quit. I had every reason to not participate. I had every reason to let people put me in a segment I didn't want to be in, or in the back corner of a room tucked away. But my dad never let me do that. He always pushed me to conquer my disability. And again, it doesn't mean my disability changes. My disability has always been what my disability is, and it will always be that way. It could get worse, but it's never going to get better. And I had to learn to conquer that vision, which for me is living with my disability as what it is, and still doing the things that I want to do, and achieving the goals that I want to achieve, and being the man that I want to be. And that's from a very young age. I mean, before I can remember, I'm 5 or 6 years old, what my dad would instill in me by pushing me very hard and really telling me the importance of an underdog story. And, I'll never forget my dad telling me that his favorite stories throughout history and in sports have always been the underdog. I always root for the underdog. That's the guy you want to root for because he's going to earn it. Because he's going to make it happen. It's going to matter more to him. And him telling me very point blank, that's you. You are always going to be the underdog because of your vision. But people will root for you if you give them a reason. You can achieve those goals if you fight for them. You can have that life if you want it. You just have to build it. You can do absolutely anything, right? All things. Conquer all things is very specifically used. It's tattooed on my arm. It's used in so many things that we do because it's not just one thing. Conquering can be in any aspect of your life: relationships, spiritual, mental, career, health, childhood traumas you're going through, addictions. I use the term ailments, illnesses, and addictions. Those things are possible of conquering. And I would never have known any of this was possible without my dad showing me and putting in the time and work to conquer them. It wasn't negative. It wasn't about beating everyone in class and being the best and dominating and destroying everyone. It was about beating myself and doing my best and showing up for myself, regardless of any excuses I wanted to give myself, regardless of any weaknesses I felt that I may have had. It's about conquering by showing up and doing it. Sometimes we're looking at a word and we're still kind of holding on to what we think other people have used it for and how it's been used in time and culture. And again, we said in the beginning, conquering is strongly overcoming weaknesses and excuses. That is meant in any stage of your fight to let you know that wherever you are in it, you just have to do that one thing. Overcome where you feel weak and overcome any excuses that you're giving yourself in the fight that you're in. It's the mental aspect of the fight, really, because our inner monologue might tell us things that we may not want to hear, as far as that voice, that nagging voice: you're not good enough, you can't do it, you can't overcome this. And we need that strong voice to come in and say, no, you know what? I just have to do that one thing today. I just have to show up and do this and check that box and get it done, and that will put me on the path. We have to control the narrative, and we start by controlling the word. Conquer is strongly overcoming weaknesses and excuses in any aspect of your fight at any time. It's just resetting, refocusing, and then executing one thing at a time as you fight the battle that you're fighting. Conquering something like a goal is very different than living with something like a disability or dealing with a diagnosis like cancer or battling an addiction to alcohol or drugs. But the outcome is not different, right? You're still living with what you're going through. We have to learn that it's part of who we are, and we have to, on a daily basis, control what we can control. It's not looking at a finish line, because a lot of times there isn't. I compete in bodybuilding, and when I go on stage, that's kind of the end of the process. But with my disability, or with, past drug issues, it's something that I have to work with every single day. It's something I have to be aware of and I have to fight against. It's perpetual. It's all the time. When I open my eyes in the morning, my fight starts. When I close them at night and fall asleep, it stops. But while my eyes are open, my disability is essentially fighting against me all day. Another perspective, I've been sober for a very long time, and I deal with those tendencies and those issues on a daily basis. It's difficult when you're stressed to not feel the tendency to want to go use a substance that you shouldn't use and that had ruined your life. But the trigger's still there, and on a daily basis, I have to remind myself that that's not the answer. That's the easy way out. That's the simple way. That's how things were always done. The standard now in either of those situations is just focusing again on that one thing that I need to do through the day to conquer either of those things. So now that you know what the word means, and now that we have taken back the definition and see the power in the word for our individual fight, whatever it may be, Here's some things that you can kind of use in your daily life when it pertains to conquering. We talked about naming the fight last week, and that is important because you have to know what the fight is. You need to also know what you're up against, and you have to be honest in that situation. So what I know is that my eyes don't work well in light, and I have to keep my eyes safe. And by doing that, I need to look at what I can't do that will diminish my vision faster. For an example, I cannot read books anymore. I haven't been able to read a book in 15 years. Reading a book hurts my eyes too much, and I lose vision a lot faster if I read a book. Same for video games. As a result, I don't play video games and I don't read books. I listen to audiobooks instead, and I just kind of gave up video games altogether, to be honest, because I need the vision to get through the day. So what you need to do is kind of look at your day, whatever your fight is, and what you can control, starting with just one thing that you can either add or remove that will make your fight easier, that will make you feel stronger, that will help you fight, not hinder you from fighting. Again, for me, it was removing reading, which is one of my favorite things in the world. I have tons of books. I've been reading nonstop since the second grade, but I had to willingly give that up in order to get through the day and maintain the vision that I have. I can still write, and so I do that. I can still listen to audiobooks, so I'll do that. So you need to look at your day and pick that one thing that will either help you by adding it in or help you by removing it from your day. And share that with us. We want to know what's something that you were able to either add that helped you in your conquering fight, or that you removed that helped you in whatever your fight is. It could help change someone else's life, something they might not have thought of. We need to share these resources with each other. All right, guys. So remember, conquering, new definition in your mind and in your heart. Strongly overcome weaknesses and excuses. Action step to take. Add one thing that helps you with your fight, or remove one thing that helps you with your fight, and share it with us in the comments or DMs. Please let me know. I want to know what you're doing. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Please let us know that you're along the journey with us. No one fights alone. We're all stronger together, and we will see you guys next time. It's the Conquer Podcast. Thank you.